Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Mega Life 21 Mayhem. I'm your host from Mega Life 21 Mayhem, James P. Madonna. And this time, myself and my very special guest, Tom the Beer Whisperer, are going... that's him. The guy on your right in the video. We are going to attempt a dual show. When I say dual, I mean this is going to be a combination regional food and drink and honest craft beer review show, because it will appear on both Facebook groups. Because we will talk... Yes, right. Now we will talk about beer and barbecue. Beer and barbecue. Now, first of all, I'd like to say, how you feeling today, Tom the Beer Whisperer?
I'm good. How are you, James?
Not bad, not bad. All right. It is cool and breezy and dry. No humidity here for the weekend here in New Jersey. How is it in Missouri?
Humid? We are warm and humid here, my friend.
Screw humidity. I hate it. Humidity is good for growing mushrooms. That's about it. I love mushrooms. I'm a fun guy.
Fun guy. I get it. That's why that's funny.
All right. Okay, this here, I stopped at the large Korean market that I go to every Saturday called H-Mart, and I picked up, because my throat hasn't been feeling too well with the high pollen count, my allergies, I picked up some ginger, instant granulated ginger tea with honey.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it comes in packets. You just mix it with hot water, or you can mix it with green tea or whatever you like, and you got ginger and honey. See?
There you go.
There you go. This company is called
Sounds like a 70s disco group, doesn't it? Ginger and honey?
Ginger and honey. Peaches and herb.
Peaches and herb. Oh, ginger and honey. There you go.
Yeah, I think they sang Shake That Groove Thing. Shake That Groove Thing. Yeah. Show me how to do it now. Shake that groove thing. Shake the... Pocus is the name of the company. I don't know if it's an aphrodisiac and you go and try to pocus some girl after you drink this tea. I don't know if that's what that means, but anyway, second thing I got, Pocahontas. Second thing Pocahontas. Does she get poked? Does she get poked a lot, Pocahontas?
What?
That Indian chick.
Yeah.
You know, hiya, how you doing? Hiya. All right. I got some wild sesame seeds that I pan roast and mix it with my Japanese soba noodles.
Oh, yeah, very good. Yep.
Or you can put it in salad, or you can mix it with any various Asian seafood dishes and stir-fried dishes. But I mix it in my super high nutritionally dense multi-grain cereal, where I put quinoa, amaranth, flaxseed meal, and I use different sweeteners. Sometimes I use raisins. Sometimes I use ripened plantains. Sometimes I use dehydrated sugarcane juice. But it's a great flavor. You know how tasty sesame seeds are.
Yeah. Well, that mix you got there will make you poop a brick, I tell you.
Yeah. These are wild sesame. These are wild sesame seeds.
Ooh. And that'll work be a new one.
And after you detox and you get a burst of nutrients from all this organic eating, then you could tell a attractive female, hey, open sesame, honey, open sesame.
Yeah, that's why that's funny.
You like that? Open sesame. Now, barbecue. You and I were talking about things that bother us, that get under our skin. I hate thin, puny, undersized, flat, well done hamburger patties. I like thick, bloody, or medium rare, at least 8 ounces. I don't like small hamburgers. Now, a lot of people on regional food and drink like to post photos of small hamburgers. Well, you know what? If it was up to me, I would outlaw small, puny hamburgers. They're namby-pamby, little wimpy hamburgers that even Wimpy from Popeye would never eat. And hell with them. You know, Bobby Flay's Burger Palace, shame on you, you cheap bastard. You got 6-ounce hamburgers. Don't like them. I like a big hamburger. Second thing is the cheesesteak. The people that make Philly cheesesteaks here in the Northeast, the cheap bastards, have been using processed Velveeta or Cheese Whiz. To me,
oh yeah,
this is the cheap way out. They're trying to cut corners. They're trying to increase their profits at the expense of the consumer. I refuse to eat artificially processed cheese. I want the real thing. The real thing. Like you were eating that day with the pizza that you got from St. Louis, was it?
yeah.
With four different cheeses or 5 different cheeses?
Yeah, it was a four cheese pizza. Yeah.
4 cheese pizza.
Yeah, let me throw a quick plug for that place. That's Antonini's Taverna, and it's in an Italian district in St. Louis called the Hill, and the food is phenomenal there, man. It's just incredible.
Wow. They got Italians in St. Louis, Missouri?
They do. You got some Italians out there, man. Yeah, there's a district out there. In fact, I guess at one time, way back when folks were segregated. You had the Italians in one section, you had the Irish in another section, you had the French over here. Before the English decided they had to rule everybody, but that's a whole other argument.
You had Germans there too, right? They brought the beer in.
you got the section called the Hill, and then there's the Irish sections called Dogtown, and they're not all that far apart. But the Italian section is loaded with Italian restaurants and bakeries, and it's just incredible. There's a great bakery there called the Old Missouri Bakery where we had the best cannoli we ever had in our lives, man. It was incredible.
Well, a good cannoli is made, cannoli cream is supposed to be made with a specially fine whipped ricotta cheese, and they put confectionery powdered sugar in it, but you don't put too much. Now, what the sneaky bastards over here in my area in New Jersey do, you greedy bastards, is they put a higher ratio of confectionery sugar to ricotta cheese. It's especially smooth, creamy textured ricotta. And you're supposed to do mostly the cheese with just a tad bit of the powdered sugar. And then they put like pistachios or some dried fruit in there. And I love cannolis. I mean, there's a place by me called Deanna's Bakery, and they make all kinds of Italian pastries. And cannolis, they make it very well, not too sweet. Do you like tiramisu? Did you ever have that?
Actually, I've had it, but it's actually my son and my wife are the connoisseurs of tiramisu.
Yeah, it's made with coffee. It's like a coffee-flavored cake. It's good. I have it in the buffet that I went to. They go to once a week for lunch. That's where I eat all kinds of seafood for like with the coupon. Gee, it was only like $7.60, and I was stuffing my face with all kinds of fish, and they have tiramisu, and they have fresh fruit, and all that stuff, and Chinese food and Italian food, and they got meat. So it's a great value. I mean, for the money, but they don't make any money with me because I keep on shoveling all. I only put the expensive food in my dish, Tom. I don't put any cheap filler in my plate when I go to a buffet. When I go to a buffet, but so the Italian section. Now I know Joe Garagiola and Yogi Berra are from St. Louis, so maybe they're from that neighborhood.
Well, yeah, we actually went to a place called Joe Fosse's, where they make their own, they grind their own Italian sausage and meatballs.
They make their own pasta fresher.
Yeah, they do as well, and they, of course, a lot of these places, and they also have pictures of Joe Garagiola and Joe Torre and Tony La Russa and all these guys that have been through there.
Joe Torre was a all-star first baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals for most of his life. He started with the Milwaukee Braves. Him and his brother Frank Torre, they started when Hank Aaron first started with the Milwaukee Braves back in the day, and then he eventually went to St. Louis. But and then of course he ended up with the Yankees as a manager, until he started losing, and then Steinbrenner's got rid of him. But so Joe Torre, was mostly. I guess he retired as St. Louis Cardinal.
But it's a great area out there. I don't know if you ever find a way or have it eaten past you that way. But it's a great area. The food's incredible, and it's just an interesting section to visit.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of people from the Randy Orton from the WWE is from St. Louis.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, his father is either St. Louis or Kansas City. Cowboy Bob Orton. And
yeah. I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a video, and my internet was acting up, so I hadn't had a chance to download it yet. But there's another area of St. Louis called Dogtown, which is the Irish section of town, and I found a place called Nick's Pub.
Shillelagh.
Nick's Pub is like, it's like a postage stamp. I mean, it looks like the biggest dive you ever seen in your life until you walk in, and then you get in there, and it's just this great little Irish pub where you've got, and so the building is about the size of a postage stamp. He's got 15 TVs around this small little building playing sports. And then they built on a little section off to the side where he's got a stage and a second bar, and then they remodeled upstairs where they've got a third bar upstairs and 2 pool tables and video games. So I mean, it looks like this tiny dive, and walk inside, and it's a state-of-the-art, a sports bar.
Wow.
They've got 65 taps. I mean, if you're a craft brew junkie like I am, I mean, they've got 65 taps. And, it's just incredible.
That sounds like my kind of place. An old-fashioned Irish pub sports bar with a lot of beer on tap. A great variety. And they put beers on special, I hope. And I hope they have a happy hour, which they usually do in Irish pubs. They do. Do they serve Irish food like shepherd's pie and corned beef and cabbage and bangers and mash?
No, they don't. It's more modernized for Perfer Palace. They do have, I'm trying to remember what the menu had. They do have something they called, they didn't call it shepherd's pie.
Excuse me.
But it's basically a shepherd's pie, but they use beef rather than lamb. Where a traditional shepherd's pie uses lamb, they have something.
I love lamb.
Similar filling, but they use the beef instead of the lamb.
I love the smell and flavor of lamb. The Middle Eastern people use a lot of lamb.
And they do, yeah.
Yeah, the souvlaki's and the original gyros, and I just love lamb. And I guess a full-grown sheep is called a mutton, right? The meat is called mutton.
Yeah.
And then if you don't like the way it's prepared, you can just tell the cook, "Hey, thanks for mutton." But but anyway, yeah, dude, right. I'm swinging my shillelagh around right now.
There you go.
It's like when Vice President Joe Biden says Teddy Roosevelt. He spoke softly and he carried a big stick, and he says, "I guarantee you, the President of the United States has a big stick." That's exactly what he said with a straight face. I swear, he said that with a straight face. But you know what? I want to try haggis from Scotland. It's made with all kinds of entrails, I think. Yeah, but
I'm gonna let you do that.
What?
I'm gonna let you try that. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, I used to eat broiled lamb's head when I was younger. It's a Mediterranean delicacy. They cut.
There you go.
They saw the lamb's head in half, and then they put like olive oil and seasoning and breadcrumbs in the cavity, where the brain is, and it has the tongue and the eyeball, and they called it cabuzzella in Italian, and it has pieces of meat on the on the face and the cheeks and everything, and it's many Italians don't eat it, but I like exotic food, so. I was always willing to try it. Now, spaghetti sauce. People don't realize. Don't worry, we're going to get into beer.
It's your show. I'm just along for the ride.
But no, pretty soon, the beer whisperer is going to do his thing. right? Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, spaghetti sauce. People, you know, get all nervous about spaghetti sauce. They open up jars, which is really full of sugar. It's garbage. Homemade spaghetti sauce is so damn easy to make. And I'll tell you right now how to make it and how you could squeeze out 2 Sunday dinners out of one pot. And this is what I do. First, I get a pound of the whole wheat spaghetti. Usually like Whole Foods 365, unless your supermarket sells a good quality spaghetti. I like whole wheat. Anyway, you get a big stock pot. You preheat the pot. Now, some people don't preheat. They put everything in and then they turn the heat on. No. You put it on a low medium flame. You don't need a high flame because you can't go wrong with a low flame because you won't burn anything and nothing will stick, which means you won't have the job of scrubbing the pot. Put a low flame, preheat the stock pot. You put several pours, like glug, 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 of extra virgin olive oil. Get it real hot. Then you take like half a dozen or more cloves of garlic and I smash it with a chef's knife. You put the garlic in there. You let it brown just slightly. If you want to put onions in there, you could do that. I hate to chop onions, so I'll use a food processor or I'll put dehydrated chopped onions later on. All right, when it's lightly brown, then you put in 1 large can of crushed tomatoes or puree and 1 small can of paste, now which is a tomato concentrate. Then you get filtered water and you make sure you get all the tomato that's left in the can, stir it up, pour that in, and if you want, you could brown meat before you put the tomatoes and the water in, you know, because you have to top it off with water because the paste will stretch the sauce. If you want, you could brown fresh pork neck bones, you could brown Italian sweet sausage, you can brown meatballs, which is a different recipe. I won't get into that. And then if you want to do a vegan style, you can brown other things. You could put mushrooms, pepper, whatever you want, eggplant. Then goes the water, and you fill the pot up about a few inches from the top. I don't mean a gigantic stock pot, you know, but I'm just saying. Then you let it slow simmer, like a slow rolling boil for several hours. You start this early. After a few hours, you got your spaghetti sauce with all the flavoring. I put a handful of basil. I put a heaping teaspoon of oregano. You can put bay leaf if you want. I put a teaspoon of sea salt. And you put thyme in there, or you can get the mixed Italian seasoning. It already comes mixed. Put a big handful of that in. This is before the 3 hours. And you just let that whole thing slow simmer for hours. And that is the perfect homemade spaghetti sauce. And you could usually get 2 Sunday dinners out of between the pound of spaghetti and the sauce. And that's basically it. You know? Pork neck bones are delicious. So you jabronis, I got to swing the shillelagh in the faces of some of the people, hoity-toity people on regional food and drink that think they're actually what they are is they're food channel ass kissers because they look up to all these people who just pretty much got lucky to get a show, and some of them are very annoying, but
they are, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got so many of them. But I went into it when I did the barbecue show, but I don't want to go and rehash the same stuff. But now, I noticed some people are starting to do barbecue videos, like this one guy on regional food and drink. And all they're doing is they're trying to get sophisticated with making all kinds of homemade barbecue sauces with a lot of sugar, because a lot of barbecue sauces are loaded with sugar. Okay, I like Stubbs.
I mean, that's the nature of the barbecue sauce. You know, they're sweet.
Right.
The problem is that you don't want to put a barbecue sauce on an unfinished product. You throw it on the grill because you're going to burn. The sugars are going to burn on it.
Right.
So that's why, when you're cooking something, you're best off just going with like a Memphis style dry rub. Just dry rub it. And if you want sauce, put it on near the end. If you want that sauce caramelized, put it on at the end. About 5 minutes, and then leave it on the grill for about 5 or 10 minutes. But you don't want to. You're not cooking ribs with sauce on. You're going to ruin your ribs.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Always wait until the end before you put the sauce. And of course, wait until you flip the meat, and then put the sauce on the roasted brown top.
Now, I'm going to tell you about a sauce real quick that my son came up with a couple years ago. Actually, Seamus formulated this sauce that uses a smoked sweet potato as the base, as the thickener.
Okay.
So we took sweet potatoes that we smoked the night before, we pureed them up real fine, and then added some brown sugar, tomato sauce, and Caribbean jerk seasoning to it.
Wow.
And some brown sugar. Did I say brown sugar already?
Yeah.
I repeat myself. But anyway, you mix that all together real nice, and you don't even know a sweet potato in there, but it's that sweet potato that's thickening that sauce for you, and it made just a beautiful sauce. But I didn't use it to coat the meat until it was done. It was kind of a dipping sauce, so you based it on there after it was done. But it was a beautiful tasting sauce.
Wow. It sounds good. I like as far as supermarket sauces go, I like Stubbs. I think he's from Memphis, Tennessee. Stubbs is a good sauce. But there's so many out there. I mean, of course, I love hot and spicy food. I love hot pepper, habaneros, jalapenos, whatever.
Try Gates. Are Gates available where you're at, James?
Gates, I will look for it.
Gates sauce?
I will look for it, but
city chain, and they're available all over Missouri, but I don't know if they get out of Missouri or not. But their sauces are beautiful.
Well, I'm a big fan of the dry rubs, like you said. What I do is I use either a Jamaican Jerk seasoning from a company called Jamaican Choice, or I also like imported Indian masala curry. Curry in a hurry. I love curries. There's curries they sell a masala curry for every different food. There's chicken masala, there's meat masala, there's vegetarian masalas. There's a masala for everything, and it's just simply a curry that's targeted for a specific food. There's one called garam masala, madras, but I love hot and spicy curries, and I use them or the Jamaican Jerk seasoning, which has Scotch bonnet peppers in it, which is related to the habanero. It's very hot.
Similar to a habanero,
Right. So what I'll do is I'll go to Walmart. I'll get 10 pounds of chicken quarters for like $6, and I'll marinate that overnight in the Jamaican Jerk seasoning dry rub. I'll put it in the bag. I'll shake it up, and I'll fasten the top of because it comes in a plastic bag. So, and I will do like the shake and bake thing. I'll shake it up and I'll let it sit there. Just let it sit there overnight. It could be pork chops, center cut pork chops. It could be anything you want. You could do Jamaican Jerk, or you could do the Indian curry. Now, also, you can mix the Jamaican Jerk seasoning or the curry in the ground beef and make your hamburgers that way. That is pretty tasty.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to kick up your burgers several notches, that's the way to do it. I posted a few Brinkman or other brand smokers, people smoking their meat, making pulled pork, and I know Missouri is loaded with fantastic barbecue landmarks, and Kansas City is loaded with them.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kansas City, are they located on a river? Because I know St. Louis is on the Mississippi, right?
Yeah, St. Louis is. There's not a river in Kansas City. Is it Missouri River? Yeah, I guess the Missouri River does go by Kansas City. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering because it borders. There's a Kansas City, Kansas, right?
Yes. Yeah. Kansas City, Kansas. Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, but Kansas City, Kansas is very small, right, compared to
Yeah.
the Missouri side. And I wonder if that's part of Tornado Alley, Kansas City, Kansas.
That's not part of Tornado Alley, is it, dear?
What?
Kansas City. Really?
You got to go inland.
No.
You got to go inland.
That's through Oklahoma, right, babe? Yes. Mostly through Oklahoma City, Tulsa. Southern part of Kansas there, but yeah, it's not really part
You
of
get the dangerous F5 tornadoes. Okay, now it's all yours. Beer. What have you tasted recently? Anything new? What scratches you where you itch?
I'm right now. I'm in an infatuation phase with a small brewery out of St. Louis called Four Hands.
Four Hands?
They're so small that they're not even doing bottled beer yet. They're just in kegs, and they're just in bars and restaurants in the St. Louis area. But everybody loves these. I mean, they're just phenomenal. I went to a place today, not today, but the other day called Nick's Pub, and I had the beer today, is what I meant to say. But the great thing about that Nick's Pub I was telling you about is they have these 65 taps, but they also sell growlers. So I could try all the Missouri beers from there. So I bought a growler and I brought it home, and I had the Four Hands Divided Sky Rye IPA, which is basically a rye IPA. With 6.5%. They don't list the IBUs, International Bitterness Units, but the thing is super hoppy. So if you're not a fan of that hoppy beer, this one isn't for you, but it's just loaded with flavor. And I love the rye IPA, because rye malt imparts a little bit of spiciness. It gives you a nice contrast between the hops, which are bitter. So you've got a little spicy with that bitter. So for me, it's a nice mix. I'm a big fan of the rye IPA.
I like the hops. I like the full-bodied, powerful flavor there. So Four Hands is named after the fact that they only have 4 employees making this micro beer.
Yeah, that I don't know, but they're great. It's just incredible. I mean, everything I've had from them. I talked about them on your other show. They have they call it single speed session ale. Is their blonde ale that's brewed with elderflower, and it's just an incredibly tasty blonde ale. Oh my gosh, man! It's just good.
Oh, they call it blonde ale because of the color, or because they filter it through blonde women's hair? I mean, what is it?
I think it's color, but I don't know if panties are involved or not.
Panties? You said they filter it through blonde woman's panties?
Yes, I'm not sure if that's involved or not. I don't want to get misquoted. But hey, I don't know if the carpets match the drapes or what, but I'm just saying it's a good beer.
Well, if the carpet doesn't match the drapes, then it's not the real deal. If she's from Scandinavia and the carpets match the drapes, then you're talking about a real Viking queen from Valhalla. But you know what I should do? I should go over and grab my slide whistle in case we get a little crazy here.
It's been known to happen.
All right. Now, while I go and get me slide whistle, you're probably going to really crack up when you watch the show, because I have a real wild, new age looking background. It's like a hypnotic, wild look, and I have my huge skull and crossbone Jolly Roger flag behind me, and I'm wearing a chef's hat. So you're probably going to get a kick out of the show. But
all right, looking forward to it.
The sound quality should be 1,000 times better than our last show.
Yeah, well, I had this big echo everywhere I listened to myself. Sounded like I was underwater.
Yeah. Remember that goofy married couple that had to take their vows underwater? Remember that? Did you ever see that?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they were divers, whatever, and they got married, and they're, do you take this woman? I do. Yeah, it was like that. It sounded like that. But anyway, you go get the beer, and I'll get the slide whistle.
Okay. Let me, I'm going to leave my computer here, and I'm going to, you're going to see a blank screen for a second while I grab a beer.
Well, you're gonna see the pirate flag because I'm walking away. IPA, India Pale Ale, India Pale Ale.
I'm on my way back.
Pale Ale speaketh with forked tongue.
Okay. Now, I don't have any more of that four hands I was telling you about, but I was saving this if we were able to get this thing working, because I want to talk about, everybody talks about drinking local, and everybody should. This is my local brewery, Mother's. This is their IPA.
Little Helper.
It's right here in Springfield, Missouri. This is their Mother's Little Helper. It's a 7%, 70 IBU IPA.
All right.
And
oh yeah. I tell you, knock on wood, so far the quality of this broadcast is #1. I'm very happy. Let me knock on my shillelagh here. All right, Blackthorn. Beautiful color.
nice, yeah.
A brown, a brownish color, like a dark brown. Or
Yeah, it's got a copperish thing going on, right?
Yeah, like nice, nice firm, craggly head, with a slight brownish tinge to it. How does it taste?
It is good. This is a good IPA. Anytime I'm able to swap beer with friends, I try to send them one of these because I like to push my local brews. Everybody should push their local brews.
It's incredible just how many microbreweries are in the United States today. I mean, it's like, why would anybody in their right mind drink Coors or Miller or Budweiser anymore? What possesses?
Right, you are, sir.
I never.
No, I don't know.
I every day I go online and I go to the group. I'm hearing about beers that I never knew existed. It's like every corner of the United States has their own indigenous local microbreweries. Every corner of the United States. And of course, the flavors and the ingredients added. The list goes on and on and on, and people are continually experimenting with new ingredients and through trial and error, of course, because it has to taste good. But so what is your assessment of Little Help?
This is a great IPA, and like I said, I send it to everybody that I can get to try this thing, all the beer geeks out there, because I just think it's a contender. I think it's as good as any IPA on the market. This brewery's only been around just slightly over a year now, and they're really, they're really hitting their stride. They're starting to get some notice nationwide now. Right now, they're only available in Missouri, but they are getting people to take notice. So I try to talk about them every chance I get.
Wow, well, I definitely like the color. It definitely
it is a great beer.
It definitely looks like a full-bodied, flavorful product. I mean, the head is maintained. It's not dissipating, and the color is great. Of course, the first dark beer that I ever had that I actually loved in my life, besides Guinness Stout, was Newcastle Brown Ale from England. You know, and Killian's Irish Red. Those were the first I've ever tried. You know, and this was back in the early 1990s is when I was first introduced to real heavy-duty beer, the way it's supposed to be. And been a big fan ever since. And, of course, it has gotten to the point where you have professional beer tasters that travel the world.
Yeah, you do. It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, my only problem with that is you've got some folks out there who, call themselves professionals, who really don't even know what they're doing. Though, I mean, I was at a pub a while back with this kid who was probably all of about, I don't know, she was probably 25 top end, but she might have very well been younger than that. And she walked up to the bar complaining about a beer she was drinking.
What's her problem?
And she said, there's something wrong with this beer because I'm a beer judge.
She's a beer judge?
I'm a beer judge. I think maybe she does one local thing, or maybe she read a book about it. But, I think that's the problem. When, you give somebody a little bit of knowledge, all of a sudden they think they're experts.
Well,
I'll tell you something.
Let me tell you something.
I've been drinking beer for 27 years. I think that qualifies me more to say, I give you a better idea what that beer tastes like than some 25-year-old kid who read a book. Now, I'll tell you right now.
I tell you that. Well, the punks today, they all want to set the world on fire. They know it all, and they're the first to brag about any accomplishments that they've had. I mean. She is a beer judge, and there's something wrong with this beer. What she's trying to do is she's trying to get her beers for free in that establishment.
Yeah, that's exactly what
she's probably, like if she was good looking, she's probably used to guys buying her drinks and dinner constantly. She probably never has to withdraw money at the ATM machine when she goes out if she's good looking. And now she's pissed that she probably had to buy a beer.
Well, I think it was opposite here because she had a nose like witchy poo. So I think it was more than, she's ugly and guys aren't buying her beer, so she thought maybe somebody else ought to.
So she had a rather large proboscis, is what you're saying? Her proboscis was a tad bit large?
And her personality wasn't working for her either.
So every time she looked at the ceiling, she reminded you of a 2-car garage? That's how big her nose was? If she goes,
my wife just reminded me that I have a rather large nose myself, and I shouldn't make fun of those.
No, you're not.
I wasn't making fun of the lady's nose. I was just basically stating that she wasn't exactly
she looked like. She wasn't
exactly Charlize Theron, you know what I'm saying?
She looked like an anteater, or she looked like Margaret Hamilton from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I'm melting. Help me. I'm melting.
I'm just saying, just because maybe you read a book or you took a course, maybe that doesn't necessarily make you an expert. Maybe some life experience makes you an expert.
Yeah. You know what you should do? If she commonly frequents the establishment, you should walk in with a box of Froot Loops cereal and hand it to her and say, "Here, I didn't know you do commercials. You're right on the box, man."
Well, actually, it was the first time I'd been in the place, and I had such an unpleasant experience, I never went back.
Proboscis. You know what it is? The girl probably doesn't. She probably needs a good pipe cleaning. That's why she's a little cantankerous. She probably doesn't really get any male attention, and she's probably her pipes are a little rusty, and they need a little rotor-rooter, a little plumbing, a little snaking, and she's probably grouchy. She's grouchy for that reason.
Well, anyway. now that we've alienated now, we better move on.
We alienated.
We're gonna get rid of some Gloria Steinem now.
Yeah, you ever take a look at Gloria Steinem? She's no raving beauty, believe me. Gloria Steinem, my God. So what happened to this with the Snapdragons? What were they?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
What are they? Little magic store gadgets or something?
Yeah, they're Yeah, you usually see about Fourth of July. There's these little things, and you throw them on the ground, and they pop.
Oh,
But she was trying to play a joke on her husband, and she put him under the toilet. So when he sat down, when he stood up, they popped. But I got there before he did.
I thought she put them.
She was going to have company that night, so yeah, I got up after doing my business and pop.
I thought they were directly on top of the toilet seat, and they blew in
Oh
your
no,
ass.
underneath the seat, yeah.
Oh, they were under the seat, between the seat and the porcelain.
So what I'm saying is the pressure of my cheeks. Are you following me?
Yeah, I'm following you.
Because I do have a rather large gluteus maximus. So I sat on the thing and they would poof.
Ah, so your weight just compressed them and it set them off.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Well, it could have been. At least she's not cruel and she didn't put like an M80 or a cherry bomb under there.
But in her defense, they weren't intended for me. She didn't know I was going to show up at her doorstep with a beer and a camera.
They were intended for the husband. I guess that's what happens. I guess.
Kids day.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Some people are easy to play pranks. They're more fun to play pranks on, especially those that get upset. I think the more they get upset, the more fun it is. But I'm glad you're enjoying Little Helper. Mama's Little Helper or Mammy's Little Helper. Love. All right. Now, let me ask you a question. I'll tell you what kind of snacks I enjoy most with good beer. I like pork rinds.
Pork rinds, yeah. Chicharrones, yeah.
Yes, chicharrones.
We spent some time in New Mexico and El Paso, Texas, where they call pork rinds chicharrones.
Chicharrone is the pork rind, which is nothing but a deep fried pork belly.
And I like the spicy versions. You can buy hot, spicy chicharrones. If I'm eating them, that's what I'm having is the hot and spicy.
Well, where I found the best, there's a few communities in northern New Jersey that are heavy duty Latin. So if I go to Union City, New Jersey, which has a Cuban population. There's a Cuban area, there's a Colombian area, and then there's mixed. But the Cuban section, there's a place called Gran Via, and they make their own fresh pork rind chicharrones every day, and they make fried green plantain chips.
Oh, yeah.
From green plantains. Now, the chicharrones, the pork rinds you get in the store, it's like all skin. But when you bite into the homemade ones, you get a piece of meat on the other side.
The chicharrones, yeah, you sure do, yeah.
Which is nothing but bacon without the smoky flavor. Simple as that. And the thing with the chicharrones, they get the fat to deep fry them right from the very lard that comes with the pork belly. What they do is they take all the pork belly when it's raw, and they boil it in a huge stock pot, and they just let it boil down until all the water evaporates, and what they have left is pure lard. And they take that lard and they use that to fry the strips, the finished product, to make the pork rinds, the chips. And that's excellent high protein, low carbohydrate snack to have with a high quality microbrew beer. I guarantee. Like Justin Wilson used to say. Remember Justin Wilson?
Justin Wilson, yeah.
With the red suspenders? He used to crack me up. He used to say, people always ask Justin, how come you likes olive oil? He was trying to say olive oil.
Olive oil, yeah.
How come you likes olive oil? He says, well, I likes olive oil. No, I uses olive oil because I likes olive oil. But that's how he used to pronounce his words. That was, I guess, Cajun way of saying it. Another good excuse for microbrews, of course, if it's hot and humid out, and you're having seafood like, let's say you were in New Orleans and you were at the Acme Oyster House and you were sucking down raw oysters on a half shell, or whatever seafood you like. Like today, Friday rather, at the buffet, I had red snapper, broiled red snapper fillet,
Oh, yeah.
fried squid, calamari, fried squid,
Uh-huh.
and I had shrimp. I'd say they were large shrimp. Shrimp cooked in Creole sauce.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I love Creole shrimp, yeah.
Creole shrimp, and it was stuffed crab in a shell and stuffed clam in a shell, and then there was fried flounder fillet and not lobster bisque. I'm sorry, it was shrimp bisque soup.
Shrimp, yeah. Oh.
But there was some Italian food which was exactly like Grandma used to cook. The only problem is the tripe. The tripe cooked in tomato sauce. It stunk to high heavens. It stunk. You see, tripe, like any other organ meat, you have to clean it really well. And it wasn't that clean because it stunk bad. You know, like with chitlins, you know, I mean, I guess you got to soak it in salt water and you got to squeeze the turds out of them, right? When they cook those chitterlings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, John
started.
So
I grew up in Southern California. A lot of Mexican places out there, and you'll see Menudo. You know, that uses tripe.
I had Menudo in the Philippine takeout joint one time, and it had too much liver in it.
I'm not a fan of the tripe myself.
Yeah,
but
so much liver, it made me quiver.
That's why that's funny.
I did not like the Menudo because it tasted like Menuro more than Menudo.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Menudo, no.
You said you grew up in Southern California?
I did.
Really? Where? San Diego?
Anaheim area.
Oh, really?
Small town called Cypress, but near Anaheim, yeah.
And you went to school there and everything?
Yep. Grew up there. Went to elementary school, junior high, and high school, right in the same area.
Wow, because you don't have like an LA kind of accent.
Well, I've been here a while. My accent's all screwed up because I've been so many places, but I've been in Southwest Missouri now since about '89. So.
Because like the women in LA talk like the Valley girls, right? They have that Valley girl way of talking.
Well, they did back in my day. I don't know what they talk like now, but yeah, I grew up during the '80s, so yeah, that's what they talked like back then. I know when I first moved here, people had a hard time understanding me. They said I talk too fast. I guess that's a California thing, and it may be that way where you're from too. I bet when you get to the Midwest, people tell you to talk too fast. They say slow down. People had a hard time understanding me. They said, you talk too fast. Where are you from?
They said that to me every time I was on vacation in Cancun, Mexico, or Venezuela at that time, and everybody says, please slow down, talk slow. Well, even if you're in the South, in the deep South, you know, they're laid back. You cannot talk fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what everybody told me when I first moved to Missouri. Slow down, you talk too fast.
Yeah, because it's a faster paced life. You know, they're different. They're trade-offs. If you live, like in my area, it's more stressful because the cost of living is high, and you know, and there's so many people here. It's congested, and there's only so many jobs for so many people, and it's too much. People are forced into a competitive nature because of the stresses of everyday living. So people are forced into driving fast and talking fast and walking fast. And I like the when I was in the Florida Keys when my aunt and uncle lived there, I liked the laid back Caribbean type attitude, you know, like people would have in Hawaii or like in South Florida. Or I like that, you know, relax, you know. Don't let those free radicals, you know, eat you up. you live longer, you have less illnesses, it's a happier life. But then again, if you move to a rural or semi-rural area, there are benefits. You know, you get farm fresh food, people are nicer, you don't have to run around. You can stop and chat with people. People are not in a hurry. Your overall well-being is better, but then again, you may have to drive far to find certain specialty things.
And you might, yeah. You know, and you know, the trade-off is that the cost of living is a lot less here, but the trade-off is that you're not going to make as much either. So you have to decide, where the best balance is for you. You don't make you don't make LA wages here, but you don't pay LA gas prices neither. You don't pay LA rent. So
rents, right? Mortgages,
it's kind of that balance.
And mortgages, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a septic tank or do you have a sewage system in your tank?
No, we have a outhouse. I got an outhouse.
You have an outhouse? I can't picture.
I got a small house in the city, man. I'm not a total hillbilly yet, but I'm working in that direction.
So we
have a small house in the city, so we're on the city. I just go to my business. I come back in.
Is it a brick?
I push my keister out, my bald head right to my belly button, but I make it by. I got a red line here. Sorry about that, James. Sometimes I get carried away.
All right, here's the upside down slide whistle.
I have to bleep that part.
That's upside down slide whistle. Oh man. Well, I was going to ask you, do you have a brick outhouse, otherwise known as the brick shit house?
Yeah, I get it. That's what. Yeah,
is it brick?
If I had one, it'd be brick.
So I can't picture you going out in the dead of winter, sitting on a splintered wooden.
That ain't happening. No, I ain't doing it. I'll tell you a true story about that house. So you want to hear it?
Well, I got bit on the ass one time by a horsefly in an outhouse.
No, I never saw an outhouse till I was 12 years old. My dad took us back where he grew up in South Dakota, and his sister and her husband lived on a farmhouse, and they didn't have indoor plumbing. That's the first time I'd ever had to go to that house.
But it's cold over there.
12 years old, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
But it's freezing.
But it wasn't a winter time; it was dead in the summer.
Yeah.
But we're talking about South Dakota in the summertime, so I had to keep mosquitoes off my Peter, man.
Mosquitoes off your Peter. You got this grizzly bear and mountain lion.
Trying to do my business and try to slap things around here,
Yeah, but aren't there a lot of dangerous creatures over? That's near Yellowstone National Park, right? Jellystone Park.
No, it's a little bit, it's a little bit the other side of the state, but yeah.
Near Wyoming. Probably.
Yellowstone's in Wyoming.
By Cody, Wyoming, around there, I guess. And
Mount Rushmore is the western part of the state, and where we were was the eastern part of the state.
I
was 12 years old before I'd ever seen an outhouse before. I thought that was only in the movies and stuff. But, that was an experience, my friend. I'll tell you that right now.
There were flies. There was probably mosquitoes, horse flies.
Man. Can
you imagine a winter time?
Oh no, I don't want to imagine a winter time. I'm not going to freeze my
your Rocky Mountain.
I'll tell you that right now.
Your Rocky Mountain oysters would have froze off.
Oh man, my wife has gotten over the years where she doesn't like the snow that much, but when we first got together, she loved the winter time. I remember one of the first things I said to her she said, "Don't you think snow is pretty?" I said, "Yeah, I think it's beautiful until I have to step in it."
Step in it until you have to dig. What about me?
Until a second, I have to go outside in it. Until my balls have to reside near my belly button until spring.
Is that when you first wrote the song "Rollin', Rollin', Rollin'"? My balls are really swollen. Rollin', rollin', rollin'. My balls are really swollen.
Woo!
No, so the snapdragons were biting at your Rocky Mountain oysters.
That's right. You know, I tell my wife all the time, doesn't it make you feel bad that I was the best you could do?
Well, isn't that where
That's got to eat at you. Because I know I married up, but I was the best she could do. That's got to nag at you.
Oh, man. Now that's where the Sioux Indians are, right? South Dakota? Dakota?
Yeah.
What is it? Sitting Bull? General Custer lost that little bighorn. I think that was up there.
Yeah.
And Deadwood. Remember the series, the Western series, Deadwood?
Yep.
It was
We actually spent the night in Deadwood once. That's a nice little town.
Deadwood, where all the men have erectile dysfunction. Deadwood.
Yeah, I get it. That's what that's do.
Wait. I need more slide whistling. Every time we hit a real funny joke there, that'll be the hey now, like Howard Stern says, hey now. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I always say my videos, but I digress.
Well, I want to say something about snow and ice in winter. When you experience digging your car out, you know, you'll lose your fascination with the winter wonderland. And by the way, those people that wrote those Christmas songs, Let It Snow, and Winter Wonderland, I bet they never had to dig their car out of a blizzard.
I think snow's beautiful on a postcard. That's what I think.
That's right. You know, I barbecued one time on an ice fishing trip at Lake George, New York, right on the snow.
Awesome.
The first time I ever ice fished, because I always wanted to do it after seeing the Grumpy Old Man movie with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, right?
Jack Lemmon?
So one year I got the auger to drill the hole, I got the little fishing poles, I got the lures, and I went with a guide, with a friend of mine, and I brought my portable smoker grill up there, and I was able to barbecue all day, and the grill was sitting on the snow, and I had the thing fired up, and we only caught yellow perch. I mean, we didn't catch anything, no muskie, no pike, no walleye. We caught bluegill and yellow perch, but it was a great experience because we were surrounded by the Adirondack Mountains, and there was snow on it. It was picturesque, like you say, like a postcard. But that's nice. Or if you're trying to make fresh maple syrup by tapping a sugar maple tree, and the sap is running, and you're boiling it, and maybe you got a still, and you're making maple liqueur or something, or brandy or applejack, whatever. You know, if you're doing something meaningful, and you have the right female company, you know, as a to warm you up in the cabin, then it's fine. The winter wonderland. But not when you're stranded under adverse conditions.
Yeah.
You know, if you're loaded with food, and you know what the funny thing is, around in this area, people are kind of neurotic. They think that they're going to starve to death. So when they hear about a little snow, they totally clean out the supermarkets. You can't find.
Same thing happens here, James.
You can't
Same
find
thing
anything.
happens here. Yeah.
No eggs, no milk, no bread, no staples. Wiped out completely. They think, how many days do they think they're going to be snowbound? 1 day, 2 days the most? Nobody starves.
Same thing happens here, man. Same thing happens here.
They panic, right?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Now, did you finish your Little Helper?
No, I got a little bit left here. Just a tad bit. I'm kind of going slow tonight, my friend.
Because you had a very tiring and exhausting week.
I did, and we're actually getting ready. My son goes to camp tomorrow. It's a camp for kids with leukemia and other blood disorders. So
what time you gotta get up early tomorrow?
We're getting all his stuff ready to go. Yeah, we have to leave. It's about a 3-hour drive, so we'll probably leave about 11 tomorrow. Getting there by 2, most likely in that neighborhood.
And has he been there before?
No, it's his first time, and oddly, he's 13 years old, and it's the first time the wife and I have ever been away from him for a full week. So it's a rather emotional thing for the wife.
Is he gonna be? Is he gonna be okay? Is he gonna be
Not so
okay?
much for me because
Yeah, but is he gonna be all right?
it's hard. It's the first time we've ever been away from him, and it's going to be an interesting week.
Have you checked out the fine details of this camp? Is he gonna be okay up there?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, when he was first diagnosed with leukemia, we had to stay at St. Louis Children's Hospital for almost a month. And there's a nurse there, Nicole, who's one of the counselors there at the camp, and she's going to keep an eye on him.
Oh, good. Okay.
So they've got great medical staff there. They have a full medical staff, and if it is close to the hospital, so if something happens, then they can get right to the hospital.
So at least somebody you know, somebody you personally have spoken to, and you know is going to be there.
Yeah, she recommended the camp to him, and he's excited about going. So
good. All right. In that situation, but this is the first time he is going to be away from the family.
Yeah, it's really it's hard to believe that he's 13 and we haven't been away from him before, but we haven't. He hasn't gone away before, so this is very interesting. It'll be difficult for everybody, but he's it'll be good for him. He needs to get away. The cancer is stressful on mom and dad, but it's very stressful on him because he's the one actually going through it. So.
Chemo is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to check out that Gary Null omega-3 article on leukemia? Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that to see, exactly what studies are done. If there's I'd like to find out, see some proven success stories.
Well, Gary Null, for many years, he's been running a clinic called the Tri-State Healing Center in New York, and he has camps, and he travels all over the country and the world. He's got like places in Florida where he gives lectures and people stay, and he's like he's in his he's almost 60 years old, and he wins marathons. He's in phenomenal shape, and he's a big health guru, and he has cured many people who even had pancreatic cancer, which is usually a death sentence. He has cured pancreatic cancer. He's cured many people who orthodox medicine just gave up on. And, he has protocols for everything. So if you see an article written by Null, usually there's a lot of evidence behind it. So, and omega-3s are practically a miraculous health food anyway, not just for one thing. Omega-3s are great for everybody, but I checked with my partner, who is homeopathic and naturopathic consultant, and he told me, omega-3s, they would help quite a bit with leukemia, just like vitamin D in high amounts are good for multiple sclerosis and different autoimmune afflictions. Vitamin D works wonders, rheumatoid arthritis, but you got to take the right amount, like 5,000 international units. But anyway, the beers, I mean, of course, the quality of the water is important to any beverage.
Yes, so, absolutely.
That's your first priority. I assume in making a high quality microbrew is to use the right water, and then of course companies go on about sending representatives to find the best hops in the world. I don't know how true that is. They show them like Juan Valdez picks coffee beans. They show them holding the hops.
Yeah, hops matter, yeast strains, many microbrews there. You can try the different styles, and many of them you taste similarities because they're using the same yeast strains. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that will change the taste of your beer.
Yeah, but now ales, would you consider the difference between beer? Excuse me. The difference between the difference between beer and ale to be, you're making goldfish. I used to have a lot of aquariums. Did I tell you I have a saltwater nano reef? It's
you were telling me about that.
It's got I got a starfish in it. Named Patrick. Yeah, all right, I told you that.
Patrick.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the difference between beer and ale. What is your take on the difference between beer and ale? Or is there very little difference?
Well, it's mostly just terminology, but traditionally, ales are top fermented.
Top fermented, which means they're fermented from the top.
Yeah. Ales are generally top fermented.
Okay, but it's basically the same ingredients: barley.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to be, things are done different here. But if you're talking traditionally beer is barley malt, hops, water, and yeast. You have the German purity law. If you happen to be in Germany, a beer can only be called a beer when it has those ingredients.
Right.
You can't add anything else and be something else. There are some differences, though. I mean, in Belgium, most Belgian beers do contain Belgian candy sugar, which is technically an adjunct. So I mean that makes it different. Most American beers, and if you're talking, I think we talked about this last show. But Bud adds rice to theirs, but most macros also add corn sugar and corn syrup to their beers, and what that allows you to do is get your ABV up while keeping your price down.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of Midwestern beers, starting from way back when, they'll added not necessarily corn sugar or corn syrup, but they added corn grits. A lot of them, like Genesee for one. There are other smaller Midwest brewers that also added corn grits or some form of corn to their milling profile as well.
Is that similar to sour mash? I always wondered what sour mash was.
Well, yeah, I mean, you start out with a lot of the same things, and then you take it to a whole other level. Yeah, and that's a big difference. Yeah, sour mash uses a whole lot of corn.
Okay, like chicken scratch, or well, those are big.
Because there's you get a lot of sugar out of corn.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of beers that do use some corn. But I mean, you got even some beers that brag about it. I mean, there's a lot of I even know serious beer geeks. That will brag. I mean, these are guys that only, serious beer snobs only buy big beer geek beers and will brag about drinking a PBR every now and again. And PBR is one of the worst beers on the market. And PBR even says proudly on their website that they use a corn syrup carbohydrate profile. And I mean, that's one of the worst things you can put in a beer.
Yeah, corn syrup. Ugh.
You get this sickening, sweet, watery beer. And somehow it's got this romance or nostalgia to it, and it's a terrible beer.
Well, there's plenty of carbohydrates in natural grains like barley, to stimulate the growth of yeast. You don't need to add refined sugar products.
No, you don't, but it costs more. So if you're talking about being cost effective, that's why these macros cut out the amount of barley malt they use. and they had corn sugar, corn syrup, rice, and of the major breweries, Bud Miller Coors. Bud is the only one that actually tells you what their ingredients are. Now, Bud tells you right on their website they use rice, but they don't use corn syrup or corn sugar. But if you try to find the ingredients for Coors or Miller, man, you got to dig, because they don't want you to know what's in this stuff. And they're adding tons and tons of additives to their stuff. It's just terrible. And people drink that stuff like it's good. It's nasty. It's not even beer.
Well, you'd be surprised how easy it is to grow.
It's all in marketing, right? And people eat a McDonald's hamburger like it's a hamburger, and it's not really a hamburger either.
No.
Just because it sells the most doesn't make it the best.
No,
it's the same for hamburgers, and it's the same for beer. It's the same for anything. Just because something sells doesn't mean it's good.
Sure. Well, for decades, the government allowed the food industry to put 20% pink slime in ground beef. Pink slime is nothing but meat byproducts ground into a fine pate with ammonia in it to kill anything bad. But meanwhile, you get the ammonia. But well, don't trust the. Huh? Yeah, and they're giving this to kids in cafeterias in school.
Yeah,
pink slime. Don't trust what the USDA and what the FDA says. They're all bought out. But now, what do you want to do? You want to call it a night, or you want to pop one more?
No, I'll call it a night with you tonight. We've got to finish getting him ready. I'm usually up for one more, but I'm gonna let you go tonight.
Yeah, we covered a lot of material with food and barbecue and.
You added what you need to. Yeah, man, I love the barbecue. In fact, I've got a couple smokers in the back. I mean, I do stuff all the time, but I'm with you. I'm not a fan of the dry rub. I don't, you can't use those secondly sweet, sugary sauces. And if you do, use them as a dipping sauce. You can't cook with them because so sugars burn.
The Brazilian rodizio barbecue. You know what? You know what I saw them putting on the raw meat?
What's that?
Only one thing. I couldn't believe it. They were putting either kosher salt or sea salt. I think it was kosher salt.
I believe they used kosher salt, if I remember correctly.
All they were doing is salting down the meat before they were barbecuing it, and I guess the flavor from the wood was giving the flavor to the meat. That's all it was. But with myself, I like to use the exotic dry rubs, either the Memphis style or a Cajun style or a jerk seasoning or Indian curry seasoning. The Jamaican curries are not nearly as potent as the Indian ones. An Indian woman was telling me, even though you use Indian curry imported from India, you haven't tasted curry until you've gotten what we use. You'll be crying every which way. Every orifice of your body will be blowing water. But I told her that's exactly what I like. But anyway, thank you very much, Tom the Beer Whisperer, for our second Vulcan Mind Meld, meeting of the minds here. Second show, beer and barbecue combo. So this will be on Honest Craft Beer Reviews as well as regional food and drink. And I thank you for joining me.
And thank you for having me, James.
Okay. I will see you again for part 3. Maybe with part 3 we can get a third person, like maybe a John Starodumsky or a Red Rooster. We can invite them. And
there you go. Hey, I'm game.
I can have a third wheel on the show by using Magic Jack.
Okay.
And knock on wood again, we have not had any complications with the show tonight. Isn't it amazing?
Well,
Only trying to get it going. It's like trying to start an old lawnmower.
Yeah, you just gotta keep yanking on it.
Keep yanking on it, right? And there's a little joke attached to that, but I won't touch it.
You gotta keep yanking on it until it works.
Keep on yanking on it. It'll work.
It'll get there, baby. I'll get you there.
Keep on yanking on my snapdragons. It'll work.
We're almost there. Hang on, Martha.
Bye-bye.
Bye, James. Thanks, man.
Thank you.